All right, Jeff, ready?
Yep, let's go.
Nick, ready?
Shut up, baby. I know it.
Let's hit it.
Freshly picked and ready for consumption. Here comes another round of the Radishcast.
Another Radishcast coming in for you. I'm your fearless commissioner and animated character, Mike Fisher. Along with me, just like every time, are my co-host Nick Spill Stoll and Jeff 4.94 second 40.
What?
Let's turn some rumors into facts. That's my prediction right now, at least, is the
I don't
494. I think he's going to barely get sub 5.
That's all I need, though. Sub 5, it doesn't matter.
I don't know.
I
Maybe if
think
you
it's
got
gonna
your
be-
maybe if you got your animated horse to ride on, that you can get a little faster.
Well, my horse is not nearly as chunky as Nick's horse is, so
All right, lay off her.
Yeah,
Lay
Nick's-
off her.
Nick's good.
They don't even know which ones are which. I was the blue guy. I was the one in front. The stud with the fat horse.
I had
I'm
my
the one that
white
only
steed.
gets to pick. I'm the one that only got to pick one radish, not two like you guys did.
Bitch.
And Nick's the one that got clobbered trying to throw a pass by guys in like cricket pads.
Yep. Well, Mike, we just kind of watched him too and watched it happen. So
Yeah, I wasn't much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pretty good.
Of course. Pretty good.
So yeah, stepping up the podcast game in year 2. We got ourselves a little animated intro. Yeah, well, it was fun. Took I did nothing to make that. Neither did either of these guys. We paid somebody to do it, but
Oh, of course.
worth it.
yeah, maybe we'll expand our portfolio. We got a lot of segments we can throw together random stuff for. So who knows?
Get this guy,
But,
was he out of India or something that made
Pakistan. Yeah.
that? Pakistan, of course.
My Pakistani boy Tayab or something like that. I don't know.
Tab. What a
Quick
stud.
little shout out.
Took him a lot longer than I expected, but it was good. Did good work. So
Would use again
yeah.
or what?
would use again. I'll give him another shot to be a little quicker. But yeah,
Everyone
no,
deserves a
it's
second chance. So
everybody. Podcast is back. Our first off-season episode. So let's shake off some of the rust and get back into it. Real quick, I want to just touch on a little surprise I got for you two, something you guys haven't seen yet. So last year, I know we had our little wager throughout the course of the year, picking games, picking against the line and seeing who could win. And I obviously, ended up winning by several games. And so I wanted to show you guys something I got for myself.
Oh my gosh, this fucking guy.
to celebrate being way better at picking games than you guys. So I got
That's pretty sweet, actually.
so if anybody's able to dethrone me this year, then maybe they can take ownership of the championship ring. It came free with our league tournament trophy, so
Oh,
I decided
nice.
to turn it into a Radishcast relic.
Oh yeah,
I like it.
I'm gunning for that one this year, even though I came in last year. Half a game though.
I figured that'd give it a little more incentive. So now I'll let the games really begin. But jumping into this league season. Obviously, we just opened a couple days ago. The league opened up. Now we're free to trade, free to drop, get really, really hyped for the upcoming rookie draft. So we really gotta sit down as a league and really determine when we want to do this draft. It's gonna end up being in August. It's gonna be out a little ways, but I don't know. I'm hopeful at least. I believe the first preseason game is like August 8th or something.
Okay,
So-
I haven't even checked that.
did you guys
and then
do
the
much as you opened up? Did you do much trade negotiations and throw out a few offers yet?
There's been some communication for me.
Yeah, a little bit, not much. talked to Jordan and John, but nothing really is panning out so far. Jordan, it's not even looking at it yet. So
I did. I will say I did get one manager that told me that John maybe was making some hoser trade offers. So he came to me hoping I could do a little better.
what did he offer me?
I got
who
an
it
offer
was.
from John too. He's been pretty active.
Yeah,
That
it was just
off-season.
Me and John
draft
had
picks
some-
though.
Me and John had some discussions, but no offers or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a terrible offer. I didn't even consider it for a second.
Did
I feel like it was like Galladay for like a second round and the third round or something is what I got. I was like, dude, I can't do it.
Step up your game, John. But yeah, so we got to figure out that draft timing. Obviously, a lot of trading is going to happen between now and then, but hopefully we can get that ironed out so we can have something to look forward to and we can maybe plan something in person.
Oh yeah, location wise, what are you thinking? Are you thinking of just at someone's house or what?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough with. I mean, we really only will have probably a 2-week window, so it's gonna be tough to get it to work out for even everybody. So it'll probably end up being, I would guess half, maybe a little more of us if we even get something together this year. Maybe next year we can give ourselves like a month to play with so that we have more of an opportunity to get us all together. But
definitely trying to do it though, because that'd be so fun. We should make it like a reoccurring thing, like we were planning.
For sure. For sure. And I would love to get to the point where we can have 6-12 hours on the clock per pick, so we can be trading draft picks as it's happening and have a really extended draft. I think that'd be awesome.
6 hours? Did you just say that?
Yeah. Or have everybody in one place. Or have everybody in one place where we can have 10 minutes.
Oh
No, not for the 6-hour one. Are you dumb?
I was like, good God.
Yeah, the only other thing league-wise.
Everyone has to take a full week off of work just to draft.
Save
it in your calendar.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is my draft. The only other thing league-wise I want to touch on is I'm accepting your money for this year. Probably 3/4 of the league has paid me already, and the other people are probably just the ones that haven't even opened up CBS yet. So I'm really not worried about it. I won't be worried about it for another month, but I know most of the league is already cleared up on that. So. But yeah, no, now that we're getting back into it, anyone in the league can feel free to send us some questions on Slack, throw us in a Slack channel and send some questions our way. And we'll open up the show with them same way we did last year. So with that out of the way, why don't we jump into our first off-season segment?
The Toilet Report.
So we got the toilet report. This is Jeff's time to shine. Jeff, why don't you take it away and let us know how the toilet bowl video is going for you?
Well, I'm still in my training for the 40.
As he drinks a beer.
And that's pretty much been most of my training right there in a nutshell. But no, I haven't really had much time to carve out to start the video, but got a couple more months here, so start to gather some thoughts. I got a couple ideas that are just scattered at this point, but it'll all come together here soonish, but no real update at this point. Just actively working on it.
I do know we got a little Chattanooga trip coming up here with the three of us where we might get to see that 40 live. Maybe we can live stream it to some of the league mates, but
oh yeah, I'll do. Oh, that's for sure.
I'm really hoping I just don't pull a hammy right out of the gates.
Oh, that's gonna happen for sure. I was playing with my dog and I pulled my hammy almost. It's ridiculous. We're getting old, boys. But I want Tony to put a line together so we can get some bets in on sub 5. We might give you a little bit sub 5, 1, 2. We'll let him decide the line.
Yeah,
that's outside of my wheelhouse. I don't claim to be the betting expert, so that's all Tony.
Yeah, the nice thing is it's just a 40-yard dash. There was never any like stipulations as far as like downhill, uphill, or anything like that. So
This guy.
I'm just gonna find a huge or a steep decline and just run that. That'll help my chances.
There's a bunch of hills out here, mountains wise. You can find something. Just flying down head over heel. Just start. God.
Barrel roll to finish it.
I'm excited for it. If you dive across the finish line, I'll maybe shave off like 1/10 of a second in the time review, because I'm going all out. Like I'm breaking this thing down, and we're cutting that video, and we're finding exactly when you cross that line.
What? That's how we're doing it? That's good shit.
This isn't going to be hand timed bullshit. This is real.
There's too much air in the hand time stuff.
It's true.
That's true.
All right. Well, with that, why don't we jump into a segment that's maybe got a little more football content to it.
Y'all come back now. Surprising re-signings.
So the surprising re-signings this year. So we're looking at the guys who, a lot of these guys on this list, I was not expecting back on their teams. So guys that came back and how it affected everybody. The first one I want to touch with is maybe a little twofer, actually. Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown coming back to the Buccaneers. What does that do for that whole offense? Nick, why don't I throw this over to you first?
Yeah, I don't like it personally. I mean, Brown coming back another year with Tom Brady, it's going to take even more targets away from Godwin is what I'm thinking. I mean, John's probably ecstatic about it. Godwin, I think it was a 2nd-round pick I wasted on him. It's not looking good. My team receivers, there's a bunch of question marks, and it's just another one here with Godwin pissing me off, really.
Yeah. There's too many mouths to feed in that offense from a fantasy. I mean, they all have their good games and their bad games, and I think Mike Evans was pretty consistent that last year.
That's only one.
That's pretty much the only one. If you're not confident starting any of those guys and consistently thinking that they're going to perform for you, but
so
I think
look
as
at Chris
Tampa
Godwin.
Bay,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think as a Tampa Bay office in general, not fantasy related, it's a hell of a re-signing to bring everyone back there. I mean, that's a nice thing that they got going on in that franchise.
Yeah, clearly it's big for Brady, right? He's definitely the biggest winner of this whole thing. When you look at Godwin, though, they're giving him the franchise tag. They're paying him $13-14 million for this 1 year. Does that factor in at all? Right. I don't remember Antonio Brown's deal, but I believe it was only like 2 or 3 million. So just a pretty big difference. Do you follow the money? Do you think those targets maybe feed Godwin's way a little more this year while he's healthy?
I'm thinking it's still a franchise tag. It's not a long-term deal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and that might be cap related. I'm not sure what they're doing there. They're just trying to get a run together. It's really up to Tom Brady, and he's proven to have a connection with Brown. We'll see. I'm not hopeful, but 50-50 really to see if he has a better season this year.
Yeah.
What about guys like Gronk or OJ Howard? Do you think either of those guys are going to be playable at all if everybody's healthy?
No. I don't think you confidently play either of those guys. I mean, maybe if one of those guys was out and you absolutely had to stream one of those tight end options, but as far as like consistently throwing it in there, I wouldn't at this point. It's going
to be TD dependent, and you got Evans snatching all the TDs last year. I don't see that changing. He loves those big body wide receivers. I mean, it's hard to compare Godwin or Evans to Moss, but that same kind of scenario. Just tosses it to him. So
yeah.
And that's always been Evans' thing, right? He's always been a good receiver, but he's also always been that big bodied red zone guy. Why don't we jump on to our next one? So Aaron Jones, this is one that really, I mean, as a Packer fan, as an Aaron Jones lover, I thought there was no way. I thought for sure he was gone. I know he had more money on the table to go to the Dolphins, and he turned that down to come back to Green Bay. Jeff, as the other resident Packer fan here, how do you feel about this one?
I think it's a good move. I mean, for Jordan, the owner of Aaron Jones on the fantasy level, he's got to be excited. I mean, you can see when he's in there how dynamic and dominant he can be, and he can put up some pretty big numbers. So, I think John owning A.J. Dillon, that kind of limits Aaron Jones's value a little bit, because I think that the Packers are gonna use Dillon somewhat this year. They wouldn't have drafted a second round guy the year prior not to utilize him, maybe more of the goal line aspects. But no, I think Aaron Jones is going to have another fantastic year. And if I'm Jordan, I'm sitting there pretty excited that he's back with the Packers. And as a Packers fan, I like it. I like the move. I like holding on to him.
Yeah. And I think, the one thing that Aaron Jones, I think, gets even a bump from is the fallout of it, right? Jamal Williams not coming back. AJ Dillon's not a pass catcher, and that's where Aaron Jones makes a lot of his money. So I think that's a real bump, actually, to AJ Dillon's upside is the fact that, or to Aaron Jones's upside, is the fact that AJ Dillon's not going to catch the amount of balls. He's not going to be in on the amount of third downs that Jamal Williams was. Nick, what do you feel about Jamal Williams sliding on over to the Lions there?
What
do you think about Jamal Williams, the Lions new running back?
What? Jamal Williams, the Lions new running back? Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about Aaron Jones. I don't know why. I don't give a shit about that. Swift is going to take it over. It doesn't really matter. It's just another random mouth. They're not, I don't know. Maybe some touchdowns he'll grab, but I don't think so. And
is he the number 2 there right now?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Especially with Carry-On leaving.
They dropped Carry-On. I mean, he wasn't anything. I think Swift is going to have a breakout year this year, so I don't see him taking too much. I wanted to touch on Aaron Rodgers leaving, though. If he does leave, Aaron Jones, he can't be as good. You think
it absolutely, if that were to play out where Aaron Rodgers isn't on the team last year, that whole offense, right? That whole offense takes a big hit. It's one of those things where everybody loves to talk about this Aaron Rodgers thing. It's one of those things where he could have came out and he could have said, hey, there's no beef here, and he could have squashed this whole thing. And he didn't do that. So, right, that says something in itself, that clearly there's something going on. But he could have also come out a million times and said, yeah, I'm not happy, this, that, or the other thing, which would have increased his leverage, right? Once you have the public breathing down your organization and you have the fans getting more and more, okay, well, why aren't we getting rid of him, this, that, or the other thing, that puts pressure on the organization. He didn't do that either. What that says to me is that, yeah, there's some discomfort, there's some problems, but it's not him demanding a trade, right? This is a lot of speculation and really one of those things that who knows how it's going to play out.
Yeah, there's still hope that he's going to be back there. I mean, there's a lot of time between now and the season. So, but if he leaves, then yeah, Aaron Jones's value definitely plummets.
Yeah, it has to.
I
mean, he'll get work because how do you protect Jordan Love or Blake Bortles, who they signed today as a veteran backup? How do you protect those guys? Is you run the ball more if you have the ability to, but they're not going to be as quality of carries, let's say, because they're not going to be the goal line opportunities. They're not going to be long sustained drives. So definitely hurts. Hopping on to the next one. So this one, honestly, of all of them, I saw a world where Aaron Jones would come back. I saw a world where Chris Godwin would come back. If you asked me the chances that Juju was going to re-sign with the Steelers, I would say 1%. I thought that there was no way that was going to happen, but he's back. That's the tough part is, Jordan traded big for Claypool last year. Cooley really used Deontay a lot, and you really thought, okay, Juju's gone, those two are gonna step up to a bigger role, and that doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. It seems like it might be more of the same. Nick, what do you think about this?
What was his deal that he got? I didn't even pay attention to that.
It was only about $1 million guaranteed, maybe $1.5 million. I think it was a very small deal. So I know he turned down more money from the Ravens to go back to the Steelers. So I think part of it, you see a lot of these guys taking small deals this year, small 1-year deals, because the salary cap was so low. Yeah. Whereas next year it's going to take a big bump. So they're all hoping to sign big deals next year, but still that's a small deal.
Yeah. I don't know. Are they going to start running the ball more now too? I doubt it.
Maybe with Harris.
Their offensive line is gross, but
lost two offensive linemen, right?
Yep.
Pouncey and who I forget the other guy, but they lost two of them this offseason.
Villanueva or
Villanueva, yeah.
He went to the Ravens, but yeah.
I was
Jeff,
surprised. I was super surprised he came back to the Steelers. I thought he was going and wasn't necessarily happy or liked it there, but I mean that just proves everyone wrong that he wanted to give it another shot. And I think the receiving core, those three guys, it's going to be pretty deadly. I mean, any one of them could pop off.
And it's one of those things where maybe this is actually, a blessing in disguise for Nick. I think you're the Big Ben owner. Not that you're playing Big Ben many weeks, but he's still got weapons. Maybe this is a better thing for Najee Harris's value because he's got a little bit more potent offense where he can get some goal line carries, even if maybe his efficiency isn't all the way there.
True.
Another running back.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
To see where they finished last year in the run, but you probably don't have that off the top of your head right now.
I don't know off the top of my head how they as a team finished. I know as a team they finished, between all their running backs, I know they were in the low threes per carry. So not very good. Okay. I want to say as a running back core, they were about 3.2, 3.3 a carry. So not what you want to see. Like I said, at least now you have a situation where you feel like Najee is going to get, 300 carries though.
Yeah.
You
got to see a nice bump there.
Yeah. So jumping on to Chris Carson here. So, coming back to the Seahawks, this is one that, to me, it really doesn't hurt or help anyone. It's kind of just status quo. It's good for Carson. Jeff, I don't know. What do you feel about this?
I was kind of actually, as a Penny owner, I was hoping Carson was going to go and Penny was going to get at least a shot at the number one, but he'll just slide back into that number 2 role. And his problem has always been staying healthy. So Chris Carson, I think he had a 2-year deal coming back. So, he's got the number 1 spot locked down again this year, and we'll see what next year brings. But no, I believe Tony's the owner of Chris Carson. So it's a solid player to slide in there and, start most weeks, if not every week. And he's going to put up some nice numbers for him. So I think Pete Carroll, or I saw a report a while ago that they were going to be more committed to the run and wanted to run more. And now you got a big back that, is pretty solid runner. So I think it's a nice.
Nick, I know last year you're the one who made the trade. You're the original Chris Carson owner, sent him away for with a first-round pick to get Russell Wilson when he was lighting the world on fire. I have to imagine part of your thought in trading that away was the uncertainty of his future, right? Last year he didn't have a long-term deal. He's a 7th-round pick, not a guy that is a sure thing to jump onto another team or something. So this is from your perspective, I guess the worst case scenario looking back, right?
I don't mind it too much. I think I remember seeing a report too. I think maybe Carson was talking to some beat reporters or something, talking about the 1-2 punch between him and Penny. So he might get a little bit more carries, Jeff. So I don't know if that's really even good for you.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think if they can start running the ball and Russell Wilson can have some play action passing, that's where he makes his money. But if they just can't run the ball, I think they were right around 3 yards a carry last year as a team. If they can't run the ball and they just keep running the ball and not letting Wilson cook, it's gonna suck for me all around.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where Wilson Carson, has always been an injury risk as well, right? So him coming back doesn't mean anything that he's going to stay healthy for a year. I don't know that he's done it in the last 4. So
exactly.
But all right, some other names I want to bring up, maybe not as big, maybe not as impactful, but Cam Newton, James White, Leonard Fournette, T.Y. Hilton, all coming back to their teams, guys that you weren't really sure that was going to be the case. Any thoughts on any of those guys, Nick?
What was the trade? Old Man Joe has Leonard Fournette, or is it Troy?
Troy's got him.
Troy's got him now. And Ronald Jones is over at Old Man Joe. Is that right?
Correct.
Yep.
So no one really benefited from that. I don't know. You think Fournette's going to start taking more and more carries? I can't see it. Jones looked like the better runner all last year. I don't know why Fournette got so many carries later on. Veteran status? I don't know.
I don't know that I want to touch any part of that backfield. They brought in Gio as a pass catcher. They've got those two that are already muddled. God. So that's a backfield to avoid in my mind.
And didn't they draft a running back a year before or something like that?
Yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn's buried on that roster from last year, 3rd round pick.
Wasn't he supposed to be the pass catcher?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, that's how he profiled. But then he missed all of training camp with COVID, and then never really caught his stride. And now they brought in Gio, so he's on my roster, and he's fodder at this point. But I guess the one that's the most interesting to me as the owner of him is, Cam Newton he's gonna start the year as the quarterback in New England. I really don't doubt that at all. I don't know that he'll finish the year as the quarterback in New England. At what point they bring Mac Jones in, who really knows?
Depends if they're winning.
Yeah,
but it's one of those things where he was terrible throwing the ball last year, but he also had terrible receivers. He was throwing to Jacoby Meyer and to Mir Bird. So I'll say he's at least got a chance in front of him now. Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. Not that those are world beaters, but they're a heck of a lot better than what he had last year. So
those are all upgrades to even their best option last year,
which is sad, which is a sad statement of their team.
Yeah.
So
with his running ability, I mean, he's dangerous just in that aspect of it. So you throw in some more at weapons, and those 2 tight ends are going to be a nice safety valve for him. So, I mean, you can see the path to him having a very successful year. He's not going to put up probably huge numbers or anything like that, but he's going to be consistent and probably a pretty good starter for you, Mike, if that's the way you go.
If he starts out here, it's scary. If they start losing, he's going to get pulled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, he's to me, he seems like a up until the bye week, you're confident that he's going to be the starter. After that, it really, like you said, if they're 5-1, then maybe they're going to keep rolling with him. But if they're sitting 3-2 and, lose another one, then, when do you make the change? So,
right.
And really that depends on Mac Jones's NFL readiness. He's one of the guys that played with really good talent in college, but he always seemed overmatched versus his opponents at Alabama. So was he putting up those great games because he was just that much better? Their team was just that much better? Or was it because he was a good game manager and was, able to take over? So it'll be curious. That's a room that I don't have confidence in Cam all year, but I'm interested in how he starts it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also
Anybody
curious,
else?
Is Sony going to stay? Is Sony going to stay there?
They did not pick up his 5th-year option, so this is his last year, no matter what. Probably, he's gone after this year, and I can't imagine they bring him back.
Yeah,
I don't know why you would. He hasn't produced at all.
Yeah, but all right. Well, with that out of the way, why don't we talk some rookies?
Draft Day Darlings.
So the Draft Day Darlings, that might be a copyrighted little jingle by the NFL. I don't really know, but
we'll find out later.
Yeah.
No, we will. We have 35 views on YouTube.
That's true. That's like our best video too.
We're building something bigger though.
Slowly but surely. So we're going to talk a couple positions in the draft. First one I want to touch on that we can all maybe talk about quick is the tight end position. There's not a whole lot here. We all know about Kyle Pitts. We all know what Kyle Pitts is projected to be. It's one of those things where, what do you believe, right? You really got to look at not just how he compares to this year's rookies, but how he compares to other hyped up rookies in the past, right? People thought OJ Howard was going to be the next great thing. Evan Ingram set, rookie records at the tight end position and you see,
Gross.
would you be happy with either of those guys on your team right now? Not so much. So
I have both of those guys on my team.
yes, you do. Don't worry, you have Mike
disgusting.
Gesicki too.
Yeah.
I see the
If
path,
two
though.
won't be bad though.
I see the path there in Atlanta. I like it. I mean, I don't know why we're talking about this shit because we're about to draft soon, but
Yeah, this is one of those things where we're probably all I'm gonna talk about these guys, but I'm also gonna hold some things close to the chest. But no, I think he's got a path to success. Obviously, you don't go number 4 in the draft without having a bright future in front of you. The tough part about the tight end position is a bright future doesn't always mean a fantasy future, right? You know, you could be thrilled to have Hayden Hurst on your NFL team, but maybe not as a pass catching threat. Maybe it's his versatility that you're most attracted to.
true. But Atlanta tight ends.
Yeah.
I see a good path.
Yeah.
Moving on from that, though, what we're going to do here is we're actually each going to talk about the position that we need the least. So, I've got a very strong running back room, so I'm going to talk running backs since that's probably my lowest position of need. Jeff's going to get the wide receivers, and Nick's going to get the quarterbacks, and we're gonna run through them relatively quickly. So. Obviously the 3 big name running backs this year were Najee Harris going to the Steelers. That one makes a lot of sense, right? That's one that, although first round running backs aren't a common thing anymore, that's one that a lot of people expected. A lot of mock drafts had him going there. That doesn't surprise me. We knew they needed somebody. The next one is Travis Etienne going to the Jaguars. That's a surprise to me, right?
I like it.
That one,
The very next pick too.
Yep, that's one where when you're a team like the Jaguars and you've got to rebuild from the ground up. Really, you just got your franchise quarterback, but you were also the 31st ranked defense in the league. there was a lot of good defensive players on the board there, and you had a running back that you're basically paying nothing that did a really good job last year. I don't know why you almost.
How much of that
second.
do you think that they're both Clemson teammates?
That might have factored in. I
Lawrence
think
and-
probably I think the number one thing that factored in was Urban Meyer coming in as the new head coach. I think.
Yeah, that's not his guy.
Yeah, he wanted to get his guy, and I'm sure part of it was him saying, "All right, let's grab a guy that Trevor's already comfortable with and produced with him." And so,
and as they're watching all of those games with Trevor Lawrence, they're also watching ETN at the same time, and they obviously were impressed with his skill set.
Suck it, Stank.
it's gonna be a really crowded backfield there between those two and Carlos Hyde. That's gonna be another one that.
Oh, that's the worst.
Maybe it'll shake out. Maybe it'll shake out where one or two of them really rise to the top and you can feel confident. But going into the year, I don't know that you're super confident.
Any backfield with Carlos Hyde, he finds a way to have some role.
He looks good last year.
Take a lot of carries away everywhere he goes.
He looked surprisingly good last year in Seattle.
Yeah, when everyone was dead.
Honestly, one of the almost bigger surprises, that was a big surprise, taking that first round pick, but Javonte Williams to Denver trading up with the Falcons, who I thought maybe we're going to take Javonte in the second round there. The Dolphins sitting right behind them. You're watching that draft and you're thinking, okay, it's going to be one of these two teams, the Falcons or the Dolphins are going to take them. And you get the Broncos trading up, taking him there, spelling maybe the end for Melvin Gordon, if not now, definitely next year. This is Gordon's last year on his contract. So maybe Gordon has some value this year. That's yet to be seen, but I think at the very least it's a time split. And if not, Javonte takes over time because, Gordon's never been an efficient runner either. He's been a big volume guy his whole career, and he's been a big touchdown guy his whole career, but he's never been super efficient. He's almost always averaging, 3.3, 3.4 a carry. Except for he had 1 year where he averaged, he had a pretty decent average. I think he was in the upper fours.
That's probably a really big year. I don't remember which year that was.
I think it was right before he held
with a lot of touchdowns too. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's spell in the end for him. A couple other guys that went. Trey Sermon to San Francisco. I think he's got a chance, as does every running back in San Francisco. But as with every running back in San Francisco, who's it going to be this week? Who's going to stay healthy? You know, I never know.
Yeah, the healthy aspect of it too. It's ridiculous. That whole team was dead last year.
He's a guy that after this year, you know, I think Mostert's gone after this year, and then, you know, maybe he has an even bigger chance to emerge.
Mostert's 29, isn't he?
Yeah, yep. He's up
there. So I heard this interesting stat the other day. Mostert has less carries in his career than Derrick Henry had last
season. Shout out fantasy footballers.
So he's 29 years old, but he doesn't have a whole lot of wear and tear on his legs. You know, he hasn't done a whole lot of work in the league.
Well, he had to pull his way up there. I don't know what he was doing practice squad wise, but
yeah, he was on practice squads for years. But
yeah.
A couple other guys, Michael Carter to the Jets. He was played side by side with Javonte Williams in college. A lot of people liked his electricity. He's not quite as big of a back, so he maybe doesn't project as a 3-down back. But going to the Jets, where they definitely need some help there. Kenny Gainwell was one that was a little interesting going to the Eagles, but that interest all but faded away when they signed Kerryon Johnson. They're crowding that backfield, and honestly, all of them are behind Miles Sanders, and we know that. So, I really don't know what's going to happen there. So, some teams in our league, I think that are really going to be looking for a running back here. I'm going to kind of classify them in a couple different categories. You know, I think John and Jeff are one category of two guys that definitely need a running back, but they have the early draft capital to cover it. Joe could even fit into that category a little bit too. He could use another guy, but he's got the 5-6 pick, so he could likely get one there. One other guy would be Kyle Monroe. I think he could use another guy. Chase Edmonds is his number 2, and then Damian Harris is his 3 right now. And he doesn't have any early draft capital to cover it. Maybe a guy like Sermon or Carter would be a fit there where he could get late. And then the last category is Stank, who has 2 running backs who just got usurped in the draft, has no first-round draft pick to fill that need. So unless Melvin Gordon and James Robinson can be more than we think they will, he's going to be hurt this year.
Yeah.
So with that, I think that's about all I want to throw on the running back table. Nick, why don't we toss it over to you and let you talk quarterbacks for a little bit? Let my voice get a rest.
Yeah, I mean, I could actually use a quarterback. I have all these old guys besides Wilson, but I'll talk a little bit about it. Trevor Lawrence, I like mostly because I'm selfish, and I think Chark's gonna have a better year. I mean, they beefed up the running back room too, like we were talking about. Sorry, Stank. They're going to be behind a lot. I think 31st, I think that's what I saw, 31st ranked defense. So I don't know if that's good for a quarterback starting out or rookie quarterback. The boy might have to throw the ball unless they're trying to run it a lot. So,
and that's the Joe Burrow path from last year, right? They had a bad defense and they threw 40 times a game, and he was really turning into someone you liked. So I think that's a comparable season you might see.
Yeah, I mean, it felt last year like pass blocking was terrible there. I know they ran the ball extremely well, but I don't know if it's because Minshew was just holding the ball so long or what the deal was with that, but I guess we'll see how that pans out. I'm happy as a Chark owner, though. And the boy Tebow. Mentor, baby.
Stop it.
What is up with that signing? Why?
There's no point.
Because
he's not even going
it's because Urban Meyer was his college coach and he likes the guy, I'm sure, and he probably came and looked fine and athletic. And I mean, he's a big guy. He looked like a tight end when he was playing in the NFL. So, you know, He's not. He's noise though. He's not going to be anything. I truly don't believe.
Effect, baby. Oh, he's not going to be anything fantasy wise. There's no question about that. Zach Wilson to the Jets. What? Longtime friend of the podcast, James Morgan, right? He could be the mentor there.
Yeah,
that does hurt James Morgan's dynasty value.
Dynasty value, yes. I just don't. I mean, the Jets still look gross. I know they have that receiving core. It's not a great defense. It's just I don't want to be part of that organization. I don't see it turning around in the future. Corey Davis got signed there, right?
Yeah.
Corey Davis is there. They've drafted Elijah Moore, so they put some weapons around him.
I still don't have faith in Corey Davis. Fuck you, Cooley. He's going there to die. I'm saying that. Trey Lance to the 49ers. I mean, long term, I kind of like that team wise. I think Garoppolo is going to start for the who knows how long, but he's definitely starting the season, is what I'm thinking. But looking at all those weapons in that running game, great defense as a rookie quarterback, that's where you want to go. That team's stacked. Justin Fields, the athletic boy. Andy Dalton, is he going to steal the job starting right away from Andy Dalton?
QB1, man.
For sure.
Yeah, I do too.
Andy Dalton will not retain that job.
He's the future, baby. I mean, that's a weak division. So he's playing the fucking Lions twice a year. So well, obviously you don't love the Vikings defense. And the Packers, we'll see about that. We already talked about Aaron Rodgers not being there. So running game's decent. Yeah, I don't mind that pick. It's good for the Bears. We'll see how he does starting off. I don't love him. Like I said, I think Trey Lawrence, that's my favorite so far, mostly because I have Chark. But and then last we have Mac Jones to the Pats, but we already talked about that earlier too. We'll see if bye week comes around and they're losing and Cam gets sat, or I don't know. I feel like if they're winning, Cam Newton's gonna stay starting. They don't give a shit about the name. They don't give a shit about the draft capital. They're gonna play whoever's gonna give them the best chance to win. So,
what about teams in our league? Is there anybody in our league that you think should be really desperate for a quarterback right now?
Well, we got John with Timmy. I mean, how many years? We don't know. He might play in the league for 12 more.
Timmy as in Tom Brady. For our listeners who don't get that inside joke.
Yeah, I'd be looking for someone in that scenario. I mean, 2 years, 3 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have Kyle with no backup behind Kyler. Trying to think who else. I mean, you need one, obviously, Mike.
Desperate.
Jeff needs one, obviously, Mike.
You're telling me Cam Newton and Derek Carr aren't a dream combo?
I mean, they're a combo. Nightmare maybe. I don't know about
Drew Lock.
You don't see the progression from Ryan starting this year in the beginning and then just slowly throwing it over to Tua.
I like Ryan this year, actually.
This year, Ryan probably is pretty good.
Jeff, your quarterbacks went from garbage to pretty solid through the draft and the offseason process. Tua and Matt Ryan going into the offseason, I was like, oh, that's bad. But
yeah, they both benefited pretty nicely from those moves. That's for sure.
Fuller and Waddle coming in for Tua, and Pitts coming in for Matt Ryan. And what else can you do for a guy, right? Mm-hmm. Other than Daniel Jones, no one got more help this offseason.
Danny Dimes, baby. Yeah, that's all I got for the quarterbacks.
Yeah, so no, I agree with that 100%. I think the guy I'm most curious about out of the quarterbacks, and it's honestly because he's the least talked about, has got to be Zach Wilson, right? Mm-hmm. All those other 3-4 quarterbacks, even Mac Jones gets talked about more than Zach Wilson. But Zach Wilson's going to walk in as the day one starter, guaranteed, no matter what.
On the Jets,
so that it's just curious. Like I said, is he is he a guy that is going to be down and throwing? And like I said, they've got some weapons there. Not saying they're the greatest weapons. He's not throwing to a Julio, but he's throwing to some solid players, some highly touted players. So he's got a chance. But again, he doesn't run the ball. He's just not someone that I project as being great, but I'm curious where he goes.
Do you have faith in that franchise, though, Mike? Do you think they're going to turn around in the next 5 years?
I don't know.
6 years, 7 years.
They brought Robert Saleh in as the new head coach. He seems like someone that would, punch a general manager in the face if they weren't doing what he wanted. So, all right, Jeff, why don't you wrap us up here? Talk some big name wide receivers, where they went, and who needs them.
I need this, Jeff.
You need this? You're in the market?
Yeah.
So there's obviously quite a few wide receivers that got picked more so than the running backs and the tight ends and even the quarterbacks in this draft. So, kind of the first one is Chase going to the Bengals. That's a pretty ideal spot there with Burrow. No real surprises there other than, maybe where he got drafted is a little early, but you can see why they drafted him there. The other one is Smith to the Eagles. That's a pretty good spot for him to land. Probably walks in as the number one.
You'd think.
We'll see. You would hope, but that's what they drafted him for. Another one too is Waddle to the Dolphins. Mike, I think you mentioned it earlier. Him with Fuller, some big play speed guys that are deep ball threats. So, I don't see
Devontae
him
Parker's still there too.
Yep. So they got some good options. I don't know if he necessarily produces day one, but you can see where his path to success is. Bateman to the Ravens. He's him and Brown out there, obviously the 1-2 punch, whichever way you want to look at it there. But I think that I actually like that location that he went. They don't throw the ball a bunch, but he's a sneaky player that I think a lot of guys have to watch out. Elijah Moore to the Jets, good opportunity. They brought a lot of wide receivers in, but he's kind of a sneaky player that can give Wilson an option. So Terrence Marshall's another one. He ended up going to the Panthers a little bit later in the second round. Good spot. They got DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson there, so there's a solid 1-2. But you could see after year one a path to a lot more targets, and then Rondell Moore to the Cardinals. That's a heavy pass offense. Some of the smaller ones is, Tony going to the Giants. It's already crowded there. They brought a lot of guys in. Not too thrilled about that.
Pissing me off.
Amari Rodgers to the Packers. That's kind of an interesting one. We'll see how that plays out. You could see him as a 2-3, maybe not in year one, but he's dynamic.
Is that guy a smaller guy? Is it kind of like slot? And
he's a big
slot.
He's a big-bodied slot receiver. Think of like Deebo Samuel, but a little shorter.
Yeah.
Okay, so the explosive, get him the ball, and that'd be a good addition to the offense.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. So you can see a path to success there. And then really the last one, kind of a smaller one, is just Nico Collins. He ended up going to the Texans. I don't know if anyone's really excited about what's going on in Houston and Texans right now, but a guy that could turn some heads here. So, but if you start looking and wide receiver, we start 3 wide receivers in this league and then a flex. So you could theoretically play 4 wide receivers week in and week out. So as far as needs, I think everyone probably could use and have another wide receiver need. But some of the big guys, that I saw was, John with Brown. He could use some depth there. I think he's going to be in the market of probably adding one of these top guys here with his 1 or 2. Who knows what route he ends up going in. You saw Benny when Fuller got hurt. His depth dropped big. He was playing Gage, and I think that hurt him down the stretch. Stank, he needs another option or two. I mean, aside from his terrible running back squad now, I think he's going to be looking for wide receivers too. Jordan, injuries played a huge part in that in his last year, but anyone he didn't really have much of an option, and his depth, he kind of had to slide in there. So he's in the market to look at one. And then I really think Troy kind of needs a wide receiver too. So those are the 5 guys that really stood out to me. You know, Nick, you talk about your wide receiver core. You still got some good name guys. You know, they're question marks. You know, in a dynasty aspect, those guys on different teams or those guys on different areas and opportunities, you got to like your chances there. So really no big surprises that I identified in the draft. I mean, I was a little surprised that 3 wide receivers went in the top 10, but you look at Waddle, Smith, and Chase, I think they're all deserving of it. You know, I'm surprised the Giants drafted another wide receiver after the haul that they brought in the offseason. So
no faith in that receiver room at all.
Yeah, it really I think felt there's like a lot they of good prospects. Really seemed like the Giants maybe had some other holes to fill, but I mean, so I don't know if you guys watched the draft, but it was Giants and then Dallas it was Dallas and then the Giants and then the Eagles, and Dallas actually traded that pick with the Eagles so that they could jump in front. So clearly they had some information that the Giants were going to take Devonta Smith, that's where they were probably going to go. And the Eagles felt the need to trade up 2 spots to get in front of him to be able to take him. So clearly that was a Giants plan from the get-go. They wanted somebody else despite having Galladay, you know, Slayton and Shepard, Ingram to catch the ball, Barkley. I mean, there's not much more that they can do for Daniel Jones before, you know, finding
he's got to give up on him. Give up on him. But Shepard, it's not, as a Shepard owner, I think he might just get buried.
Yeah, you can't play him this year. I don't see a path to him having enough targets to be relevant.
I don't see him playing after that either. Has he shown enough on tape where someone else can pick him up? He's going to do something? I really don't think so.
There's a couple guys in this draft class that I think would be day one, you know, contributors, but after you get out of the first top tier of that, I think it kind of drops down a little bit, and it's more of a wait and see type of approach with a lot of these guys, and opportunities, injuries, you know, trades, whatever might happen for them to get on the field. But you know, overall, I think it's a wide receiver class. So it'd be interesting to see what value these guys hold in our rookie draft with some of these teams that we identified that are wide receiver needy, but the mindset that, you know, if a wide receiver slips down to any one of us, I think we'd all be comfortable jumping on them. So,
yeah, well, the only person is Joe, who has a really deep wide receiver room that I think he'd pass. But other than that,
some bad QBs. I think it's Goff and Kirk Cousins. Oh, God.
Cousins, I think Cousins is spot startable, but Goff is not going to have a good year.
Terrible year.
All right. Well, let's hop into our last main segment here and start off section 1 of 3.
Divisional deep dive.
Fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.
So the divisional deep dive, where we get to talk smack about whatever teams we don't like and praise the teams we do. So like I said, section 1 of 3. So we're going to start in the former Paul Charlesworth division, the newly named B&B division. So named after the famous B&B division off the bar in Houghton. So named by the number 2 seed in the playoffs last year, and the divisional winner, Benny and the Jets. So he finished last year at 10-5. So we'll talk about him first. Where do you guys see him as far as, you know, moving up, moving down, his chances to compete this year? Jeff, I don't want to throw it over to you first.
Yeah, I still see a lot of good things on Benny's roster. I mean, he's obviously probably in the market for a tight end. But you know, he's got some good wide receivers. His running back with Cook, Rodgers, if he is with the Packers, is pretty dangerous wherever he goes. But you know, you said he finished second last year. I don't think he gets that high up there, but I think he's still in the playoffs. Would be my guess.
Playoff team. Nick, where do you see Benny landing?
I would say playoff team. I mean, he's probably, if not John, he's competing. I think this division's going to be really tight this year. I mean, you got Fuller gone. Wide receiver depth, not great. I mean, who's he going to start in his flex spot looking at it right now?
Yeah, and he's got
who knows?
He's got the draft to try to fill some of that too. He's got the number 10 pick.
What
was that?
Okay. Yeah, so he's got the number 10 pick. I was about to ask that.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. Fuller I think takes a step down, right? Going from being the alpha in Houston to in a cluttered, less pass happy situation to a not quite the same quarterback throwing him the ball.
Exactly.
So that's going to hurt
more
him a
options
bit.
too, you know.
Mm-hmm. James Conner going to Arizona. It's really going to be what does that turn into, right? Do him and Chase Edmonds split? Does Conner even stay healthy enough to be used? You know, so that's going to be interesting. But obviously, he's got the studs. You know, if Rodgers plays somewhere, he's got Rodgers, Cook, Diggs. Like he's got those guys. But like you guys are saying, the depth isn't there to feel really comfortable. He's a team that could go either way, right? I think he could be a playoff team, but I think he could also, you know, Dalvin Cook, up until last year, he was an injury risk every year. If Dalvin Cook goes down, this is a bottom 3 team, you know, if we're being honest.
Yeah, the depth is just not there. But if you think about how many points Dalvin Cook got week in and week out.
What was his?
If you're telling me that you think starting Kareem Hunt and James Conner every single week as your only 2 options is going to keep you out of the bottom 3.
What did I start? David Johnson, I guess. Kamara.
Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
and Gibson. I guess Gibson was in there too.
Yeah, 2 outstanding running backs.
Yeah.
So let's jump to the next team. The next team that took second in the division last year, and the newly named Cobra Kai from Coach Kyle Stankowski, playoff team last year. Yeah, you know, he needed a rebranding, I think. But his players did not respond to it. With Deshaun Watson going up against some legal battles, I'd be amazed if he saw the field this year. We already talked about those 2 running backs getting demoted big time. Nick, what are Kyle's chances, you think? Where do you put him at in this division?
I would say, I mean, he's got some demotions on running back, but you're looking at that, probably bottom 2 is my guess. We'll
in the division or
overall? Division wise. Yeah. Not bottom 2 overall. I don't think he's, maybe. We'll see if Devontae is going to have a great season either way. I feel like, I know Aaron Rodgers attributes that greatly, and we talked about that earlier. He's probably not even going anywhere. You got Kittle too. It sucks running back wise. He doesn't have a first pick either, right? I wonder if he's making any deals.
Correct. Has no first round pick. So
you might start looking to make some deals there.
The tough part is, you know, looking at his roster and his ability to make deals. You know, I don't see anybody in this league. I don't see anybody in this league buying Gordon or Robinson. You know, I don't see really what it comes down
to. Kittle, that's all your trade value.
You almost got to send one of those guys away and get a pair back, right? Try to get a 2, turn them into a 2-for-1 of young guys, you know, but
he's got Hawkinson too on his bench. So, you know, he's got 2 top tight ends that everyone needs a tight end besides probably Cooley and, you know, maybe Monroe with Waller. But
yeah, it's hard trading wideouts.
That's about his path to get a running back would be one of those tight ends, in my opinion.
Jeff, where do you see Kyle falling at the end of the year?
With Watson not playing, with that, unless he makes a move, but he went all out last year, you know, with that Adam Thielen trade, and it didn't really pay off for him. So I don't see him making the playoffs this year. I think he's going to struggle a little bit. I think he's got a couple of good players in Robbie Anderson and Devontae Adams and Kittle and Hawkinson. And, those are 4 solid guys, but you don't really like playing 2 tight ends in your lineups. It doesn't bode well for you. And a guy can only drive you so far being Adams. So, I just don't see a path for him competing with some of these other teams that we'll eventually talk about here.
Yeah, and I think if Watson was playing this year, I think we'd be singing a very different tune. But as it stands right now, because I think Gordon and Robinson, I don't believe that those guys are going to fade to nothing, right? I think Gordon is going to have his role. I think even Robinson is going to have some first and second down role in Jacksonville. But if I had to pick, because obviously this is the time of year when everybody's got promise. Everybody's, a team,
Right.
You can find something to be excited about. If I had to pick my toilet bowl today, Kyle would be in it. So
really,
if I had to pick a team
to
to finish last in this,
hard.
If I had to pick a team to finish last in this division, it would be Kyle.
I mean, Tannehill's it's really not a bad start. What was point totals last year in comparison?
He's not terrible, but he also lost Corey Davis and Jonas Smith. He also has 1 year older Derrick Henry.
He's been playing
100 point 3-year average. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
He's been playing above, I think, what we're going to see here in the near future. These last couple of years, I think you saw the best of his career the last couple of years, 2 years.
Don't get me wrong. Tannehill's a good quarterback.
Points.
Tannehill's a guy you'd be fine starting, but he doesn't have the upside as Watson. He doesn't have the league-winning potential that Watson has. And Stank was a
20
9-16
points last year, Jeff and Mike.
20 points.
20 points. That's all the difference between him and Watson and Tannehill last year.
Wow. Yep. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, he's had 2 good years. There's no question about it. I just don't see it going and going and going, for the next couple of years. And
yeah, I really see this turning for Kyle, and I really see all those negative changes and not having a first round pick. 9-6. It's not like he finished last year at 12-2, and now he lost some players and he's going to fall to the median. 9-6 can be 6-9 real quick, and now you're in the losers bracket. And, that's not too hot for
there was a stretch there last year where no one wanted to play Stank. He was hot, and we were all worried about him. So
yeah, because in the middle of the year, Adams got crazy hot. Watson got crazy hot. Like, all those guys were just playing out of their mind, but I don't know that you can count on that.
Robinson
Robinson came out of nowhere. That was
huge.
Third team we'll talk about is our host Nick's Taint Ticklers. Finished 8-7 last year. Made the playoffs just barely. Squeaked your way in. Backed your way in.
Not because of me. Thank you. I don't even know who was it. I can't even remember now. It was just because someone beat someone. There's so many different scenarios.
Yeah. It was Troy losing. Troy, I had to beat Cooley, and Troy had to beat Jordan, and neither of those things happened. But
true.
Here nor there. You made the playoffs last year. I think the big changes I see on your team were Galladay going to the Giants. I think that's not necessarily a step up, but I don't know that it's necessarily a crazy step down for him. You didn't even have him last year for most of the year. Yeah. David Johnson still is alive in Houston, but I don't know even if he was by himself, I don't know what the starting running back in Houston is going to be worth this year. Definitely not much.
It's going to be like a New York Jets last year type scenario where whoever was back there just really didn't
Ingram
make any
too.
sense. So
yeah,
there's so many mouths.
We give Nick a lot of garbage, but I think your team is going to be competitive. I think you'll be competitive in this division. Jeff, why don't I throw it over to you? What do you see here?
Yeah, I think his wide receivers are, he's got Kamara and Gibson, so he has good running backs. Those 2 guys are gonna carry him for a lot of weeks, and if his wide receivers just can come along and be decent to good, I think Nick is going to be just fine. I mean, I would like looking at his team if I was the owner of it. I think there's a good path to success there. It's just last year he was riddled with injuries and some of the guys underperformed, and getting Galladay back this year and is going to be a huge step forward. I think Pittman takes another big step with Wentz under as the quarterback. You know, I think he's a sneaky play that's going to turn out good for you, Nick. And Chark obviously is the number one there and at the Jags, and with Lawrence coming in, I think it's going to be better than what they had. So you had some good off-season moves that are going to help your roster. So I see you actually, Nick. I think, would you finish 8-7? I would say you're probably right there, maybe 9-6. So I think you're going to be right on the fringe of competing for another playoff spot.
Nick, how do you see your odds this year?
So it could go one of two ways. One really bad. It is all dependent on the receiver room for me. I mean, you see a path where they're decent. I mean, I don't really see a path where they're excellent. I think I'm right around 500 as well, Jeff. I hope Kamara gets some of those touchdowns and Hill doesn't take all those away. And hopefully Wilson starts cooking a little bit more like we talked about earlier. If they get an actual decent running game, I think that actually helps them, to be honest with you. We'll see. It is dependent on my running or my wide receivers. There's so many question marks. That's probably why the famous Kyle Monroe ranking put me down at the bottom, I think 11th or something like that. It's just a lot of question marks. That's all it is. I don't have depth either. If you look down, I don't have a first round pick. So it could bounce bad I think about 500 is where I'm at this year.
And the last team we'll talk about is Ball is Life and Coach John Lamers finished 5-11 last year. You know, I think we all would qualify him as being the worst coach or the worst team down the stretch. You know, he had a really bad end of the season. Squeaked his way out of a toilet bowl, but did not finish strong. I'm going to plant my flag though. I see John winning this division. You know, I'll throw it over to Nick, you first. You know, talk about your rival here. What do you see?
I could see it. Winning the division, though, it is a weak division, to be honest with you. We haven't discussed the other ones, but this division doesn't look great. Because it's such a toss-up. Who's going to actually perform here? He does look nice with two first-round picks here. He has
the top two.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you slide in a couple key guys. His team looks pretty good.
I don't know about Jerry Jeudy right now. DK, stud. He's going to continue to be a stud. And I think, once again, he's going to benefit from a good running back room, to be honest. Antonio Brown, we had talked about that too. I think he takes a step forward. Will he be a consistent starter? That's yet to see. Tim's going to have another good year, I think. Cam Akers, second-year running back too. Step forward. Stafford there. I think that's a little bit of upgrade. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Definitely an
Stafford's
upgrade. It's got to be,
hell of a year.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know John has Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Jeff, what do you see as far as John's team? What do you give his odds at?
I think John is going to see a big improvement this year. You know, he's going to have some rookies that are going to be coming in with his 1 and 2 if he elects to hold on to those. And I think both those guys, whoever or whatever route he goes, is going to be slid right into his starting lineup. And yeah, they're rookies and you don't bank on too much, but I think the guys that are available at the top of this draft are going to be contributors from day one. And I think if John is able to kind of stay healthy and, you know, some of his guys like DK and Clyde and Cam just continue to do what they're projected to do, I think he's sitting in a pretty good spot. So I think John goes from probably the toilet bowl all the way up to, I would say he probably is going to be making the playoffs, but I think he's going to be one of those last seeds in too. So he's got a lot of young guys. So I think the best is yet to come here, but I think he's right on the verge there. So
gotcha. Yeah, I see. When I look at just the top 2 ADP guys right now, when you look at rookie drafts, it's Najee Harris and it's Jamar Chase. And I think if you put those two guys, you know, just assuming that those are the guys that go into this lineup, you know, I think he's got more depth than Ben. I think that's really the competition. It's between those two to win this division. And like we talked about, like Nick said, it's the weakest division in our league right now, projecting out. So I think he's got the chance. Yeah, I don't think he's winning a championship this year, but I think he's got semifinal talent, we'll call it.
It looks nice. This team's gonna be looking good.
So, all right, I want you guys to plant your flag. I planted my flag. I'm picking John to win the division. I'm picking Stank to take last. I want you guys to both plant that flag. Jeff, I'll let you go first since this isn't your division.
Ooh. I will say Ben wins the division. John comes in second, Nick's third, and Stank's fourth in this division.
Yep. Nick?
I got to take me.
Baby.
Me winning. Yeah, I got to. Give my team a little confidence. I'll go Tank Ticklers number 1. I'll go Balls Life 2, Benny and the Jets 3, and Kyle 4.
I'll go further. I know I kind of said it, but I got Nick. I got you third, and I got Benny second in my what I believe will happen.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch. I'm in.
So we all agree that Stank's going to be the last in the division. It's pretty
We
much
all did that, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. You guys, like I said, it doesn't seem pretty for him.
The name change does not help out for him, but
no,
we'll see.
It's a long-term solution. All right. With that, we got one more segment before we call it a day.
Ask me the questions, Bridgekeeper. I'm not afraid.
This here's Mike's. Will it happen?
All right, Mike, we kind of hit on this a little bit earlier in the show, but still got to ask the question. Do you see us having an in-person rookie draft at a destination, say Vegas, someplace else, as early as this year?
It will not happen.
That was Mike's. Will it happen?
That was a toss-up. That was an easy one, Jeff.
I know, we got to break it in. Got to give them some easy ones here.
We're easing back in. We're easing back.
Hey, we need to keep track of this shit. We got to make sure we got to see what he's at.
Once the season starts, we'll start tracking everything. We'll start tracking our shut up babies. We'll start tracking these everything.
Oh, God.
My hope is that we do find a way to do the in-person.
But true.
I agree. I hope, but with the tight timeline this year, I'm just not banking on it.
We'll have some
with
people
that
together. I don't know if everyone will be there.
Yeah. With that, I appreciate everybody taking the time. We're happy to be back. We shook the rust off a little bit. Bear with us. We'll be back in a couple weeks with some brand new content. If you were excited about what happened this week, there's a chance you might be really excited about what comes next. So with that, good luck to everybody, unless you're playing one of us. Have a good one.
Webster's Dictionary defines radish as a swollen, pungent-tasting edible root high in potassium, which can help lower blood pressure. Or more importantly, 3 guys spitting nonsense and talking about fantasy football. Add salt and pepper and chomp into another episode next time. See y'all later.